9 out of 10 Mazda owners are driving a car packed with features they have never touched. That button you ignored last week? It just saved a driver in Phoenix from a $300 repair bill. That setting buried 2 menus deep, it unlocked a driving experience that felt like a completely different car. Your Mazda has 18 hidden features that the dealership never showed you. Number 1 has been protecting engines past 200,000 miles. Let us get into it. Number 18, the auto-folding mirror. Setting that protects your car. Every night, most Mazda owners manually fold their mirrors when parking in tight spaces. They do it when they remember. They forget when they are in a hurry. A forgotten extended mirror in a tight parking garage costs between $200 and $400 in mirror assembly replacement when another vehicle clips it. Your Mazda already has a solution for this. The auto-folding mirror function automatically retracts both mirrors every time you lock the vehicle with the key fob. It extends them automatically when you unlock. The function requires enabling through the Vehicle Settings menu under the door and mirror section. It is disabled by default on every vehicle that leaves the factory. Nobody tells you it is there. A CX-5 owner from Chicago named Lisa discovered this feature after replacing her driver's side mirror for the second time in 18 months. She enabled the auto-fold setting and has not had a mirror incident since. The feature that would have saved her $400 was already in her car, both times she paid for the repair. The next feature is one that changes how your car behaves the moment you walk away from it, and most owners have never experienced it working correctly. Number 17, the automatic window. Closure that works from your key tires. Fob. Your Mazda key fob does more than lock and unlock the doors. On most models produced after 2017, holding the lock button for 3 to 5 seconds closes all open windows and the sunroof simultaneously. This is not a feature that requires any setup or activation. It is already programmed into the key fob. Most owners discover it by accident years into ownership or never discover it at all. The practical value is significant. You park at a shopping center, you walk 50 meters toward the entrance. You remember the windows are open. Rain is approaching. Instead of walking back, you hold the lock button. The windows close. You continue walking. Test yours right now before the next rain event catches you off guard. Hold the lock button for 5 seconds with the windows open. If the windows close, the feature is active on your vehicle. If they do not close, your specific model may require a dealer configuration to enable this function. But knowing it exists means you know to ask. If you are discovering features in this video that your dealership should have shown you at handover, make sure you subscribe now and hit the notification bell. Every week we reveal hidden features across Mazda, Toyota, Honda, and other brands that change how you use the car you're already paying for. The next feature protects something that most Mazda owners lose permanently within the first 2 years of ownership without ever knowing a protection existed. Number 16, the paint protection film. Pre-cut templates. Hidden in the Mazda accessories database. Mazda's official accessories database contains pre-cut paint protection film templates for every model in their current lineup. These templates cover the highest impact areas on each specific body style: door edge guards, hood leading edge, door handle recesses, rocker panel lower sections. The templates are available through Mazda dealers as factory accessories. Most dealers never mention them because they are low-margin items that require minimal installation time and generate little service revenue. The paint protection they provide prevents the rock chip and door ding damage that accumulates on high-impact areas and costs between $500 and $1,500 to correct through paint repair at the first resale point. Ask your dealer specifically for the factory paint protection film template kit for your model. If they are unaware of it, reference the Mazda accessories catalog using your vehicle identification number. The templates exist. They are specific to your vehicle. They are significantly less expensive than aftermarket alternatives cut without reference to the factory body lines. The next feature is one that actively changes how your engine behaves and that most owners are triggering by accident without understanding what they have activated. Number 15, the Sport Mode, throttle map, that most owners accidentally deactivate. Mazda's dynamic select system modifies throttle response, transmission shift points, and steering weight based on the selected drive mode. Most owners who have tried Sport Mode describe it as feeling sharper for the first few drives before settling back to feeling similar to normal mode. The settling they describe is not imaginary. It is a real change caused by an interaction between Sport Mode and the adaptive transmission learning system. When the vehicle detects a sustained period of gentle driving inputs while Sport Mode is selected, the adaptive system interprets the gentle inputs as a signal to soften the shift strategy even within Sport Mode. The sharpness that Sport Mode provided on the first drive gradually softens as the adaptive system learns the driver's actual input patterns. Restoring the full sport mode character requires a transmission learning reset. The reset is performed by allowing the vehicle to sit with the engine off for a minimum of 1 hour. Restart in sport mode. Drive with the inputs that match the mode selected. More deliberate throttle application and more use of the available RPM range. The adaptive system rebuilds its sport mode profile based on these inputs within 1 to 2 drive cycles. The sport mode that felt sharp and direct on day 1 is available again. The next feature is one that keeps your Skyactiv engine running more efficiently, and that most owners are bypassing every single morning without knowing it. Number 14. The idle stop system, battery conditioning mode. Mazda's idle stop system cuts the engine at traffic stops and restarts it when the brake pedal is released. The system requires a supplemental battery alongside the main battery on most Skyactiv-equipped models. This supplemental battery maintains electrical systems during the engine off period at stops. The supplemental battery has a conditioning requirement that Mazda documents in the owner's manual, but that almost no owner reads before the system begins behaving unexpectedly. When the supplemental battery voltage drops below a threshold from infrequent use or cold weather operation, the idle stop system deactivates automatically. The vehicle displays a warning indicator and the system stops functioning. Most owners interpret this as a system fault requiring dealer diagnosis. The system is telling you the supplemental battery needs conditioning. The conditioning procedure is a sustained highway drive of a minimum of 30 minutes at speeds above 50 miles per hour. The alternator charges the supplemental battery to full capacity during the sustained highway drive. After the conditioning drive, the idle stop system reactivates without any dealer visit or diagnostic fee. A Mazda 3 owner from Seattle named Michael paid $120 for a dealer diagnostic appointment that identified a low supplemental battery voltage as the cause of his idle stop deactivation. The technician performed a 30-minute test drive that resolved the issue. The test drive was the conditioning procedure. Michael now performs a monthly 30-minute highway drive specifically to maintain the supplemental battery conditioning. The diagnostic fee has never reappeared. The next feature affects every driver on the road around you and is one that most Mazda owners have never intentionally used, even once. Number 13. The emergency hazard activation. During hard braking. When a Mazda equipped with the emergency stop signal system detects brake pedal input at emergency braking force levels, the hazard lights activate automatically at a rapid flash rate. The rapid flash alerts following traffic to the sudden deceleration before their reaction time allows them to process the brake lights alone. Studies on this system show measurable reduction in rear-end collision rates during emergency braking events where the system is active. Most Mazda owners who have experienced this activation describe confusion about what caused it. They assumed something had malfunctioned. The system was functioning exactly as designed. Verify this system is enabled in your Safety Systems menu. It can be inadvertently disabled during a settings reset or after a dealer software update. A disabled emergency stop signal system provides 0 following traffic warning during your next emergency braking event. The setting is in the Driver Assistance section of the Vehicle Settings menu. Confirm it shows enabled before your next drive. The next feature is one that changes the economics of your Mazda ownership, and that most owners are completely bypassing because nobody explained it at handover. Number 12. The oil life monitor that knows more than your service sticker. Your Mazda has an oil life monitoring system that calculates the remaining useful life of your engine oil based on actual operating conditions rather than a fixed mileage interval. The system tracks engine load, operating temperature, cold start frequency, and total heat cycles. It produces an oil change recommendation based on what your specific oil has actually experienced, rather than what an average oil in an average vehicle experiences on an average schedule. A Mazda owner who makes frequent cold weather short trips accumulates oil degradation faster per mile than one who makes warm weather highway drives. The oil life monitor accounts for this difference. The fixed 5,000 mile sticker on your windshield does not. Following the oil life monitor means changing oil when it needs changing. Not before. Not significantly after. The monitor display is in the Vehicle Information menu accessible through the steering wheel controls. Check it monthly rather than watching the odometer. The engine that receives oil changes at the correct interval based on actual oil condition consistently outlasts the engine maintained on a fixed mileage schedule that does not account for operating conditions. The next feature is one that most Mazda owners experience without realizing it has a name and a purpose that they can control. Number 11. The G-vectoring control system. Mazda's G-vectoring control is one of the most sophisticated chassis management systems ever offered in a mainstream vehicle. It is also completely invisible in its operation. G-vectoring control reduces engine torque by a small amount during the initial phase of cornering entry. Torque reduction shifts weight forward onto the front tires at the exact moment maximum front tire grip is needed for turn-in. More weight on the front tires during corner entry means more grip for steering response. More grip means more precise turn-in with less steering input required from the driver. The system operates so transparently that most drivers never feel a distinct intervention. They simply notice that the car feels more planted and more responsive in corners than other vehicles of similar size. You can verify the system is active by selecting a sport drive mode and taking a familiar corner at your normal entry speed with deliberate attention to the vehicle's turn-in response. Then disable G-vectoring control through the driver assistance settings and take the same corner at the same speed. The difference in turn-in precision and front-end stability is perceptible to any driver who is paying attention. Re-enable G-vectoring control immediately after the comparison. The system is why Mazda handling is consistently ranked above segment expectations in every objective comparison test. Now you know exactly what produces the difference. The next feature is one that has the potential to prevent one of the most common and most expensive collision types affecting Mazda owners. Number 10. The blind spot monitoring calibration. Check. Mazda's blind spot monitoring system uses radar sensors in the rear bumper to detect vehicles in the adjacent lane blind zone. The sensors require calibration to the vehicle's specific geometry after any rear bumper repair, bumper removal, or sensor housing replacement. Uncalibrated sensors after rear bumper work produce one of two failure modes: false alerts when no vehicle is present, or missed alerts when a vehicle is present. Missed alerts are the dangerous failure mode. A driver who trusts their blind spot monitoring to alert them to adjacent traffic and receives no alert when a vehicle is actually present in the blind zone is relying on a system that is not protecting them. Verify blind spot monitoring calibration after any rear bumper service by driving on a highway and allowing vehicles to approach from the rear in the adjacent lane while observing the warning light in the door mirror. A correctly calibrated system activates the warning light when the adjacent vehicle reaches the blind zone. An uncalibrated system either activates too early or fails to activate at all. If this feature is making you think about the safety systems on your own vehicle, smash that like button right now. Every like puts this video in front of another Mazda owner before a safety system failure catches them off guard. The next feature is one of the most practically useful settings in the entire vehicle, and it is sitting completely untouched in the menu of almost every Mazda on the road. Number 9. The parking sensor. Sensitivity adjustment that eliminates false alerts. Mazda's parking sensors alert the driver to obstacles during low-speed maneuvering. The factory sensitivity triggers alerts at a distance calibrated for average parking situations. In tight parking structures with low concrete barriers and parking stops that are closer to the vehicle than standard parking situations, the factory sensitivity generates constant alerts that most owners find overwhelming. The overwhelming alert frequency causes many owners to disable the parking sensors entirely. A disabled parking sensor system provides zero protection for the actual close-range obstacle avoidance it was designed to handle. The sensitivity is adjustable through the Vehicle Settings menu under the Parking Sensor section. 3 sensitivity levels are available on most Mazda models produced after 2018. Reducing sensitivity by 1 level from factory default eliminates most false alerts in tight parking structures while maintaining full protection capability at the distances where genuine obstacle risk exists. The 30 seconds this adjustment takes in the Settings menu restores a safety feature that thousands of Mazda owners have disabled unnecessarily. The next feature involves a system that most Mazda owners have never intentionally explored, and that contains a capability that changes night driving permanently once it is discovered. Number 8. The adaptive headlight steering function and how to verify. It is working. Mazda's adaptive front lighting system turns the headlight beam in the direction of steering input. When you steer into a corner at night, the headlights follow the road rather than continuing to illuminate the straight-ahead direction the vehicle was moving from. The system operates using small electric motors on the headlight assemblies that pivot the beam up to 15 degrees in the direction of steering input. The improvement in illuminating the actual road ahead during night cornering compared to fixed headlights is dramatic. Most owners of vehicles equipped with this system have never verified it is functioning correctly. The verification procedure requires a dark road or an empty parking structure at night. Drive slowly toward a wall or a dark corner. Steer left while observing the headlight beams on the wall or surface ahead. Beam should visibly shift left as the steering turns left. A beam that remains fixed straight ahead regardless of steering input indicates the adaptive function has failed or been disabled. A service appointment to diagnose fixed beams on a vehicle specified with adaptive headlights is justified. A driver who assumes fixed beams are normal because they have never verified the adaptive function is losing a safety feature they paid for on every night drive. The next feature is one that protects your Mazda in the parking lot scenario that causes more cosmetic damage than any other everyday situation. Number 7. The door opening. Angle limiter that prevents car park. Door dings. Mazda models equipped with the door edge protection system use a mechanical limiter in the door hinge that creates a resistance point before the door reaches its maximum opening angle. The resistance point is calibrated to stop the door at the width of a standard parking space before it would contact the adjacent vehicle. Drivers push through this resistance point without realizing it exists as a deliberate protective feature. Resistance is interpreted as stiff hinges rather than as an active protection mechanism. The correct use of the door opening limiter is to open the door to the first resistance point and exit the vehicle at that angle. In a standard parking space, the first resistance point positions the door well within the lane boundary. Pushing the door through the resistance point into its maximum opening extends the door beyond the protection zone into the adjacent vehicle's door panel territory. Door ding repairs cost between $150 and $300 per panel at most body shops. The hinge resistance point prevents every one of those incidents when it is used as designed, rather than pushed through. The next feature involves your Mazda's engine starting system and produces a result that surprises most owners the first time they notice it happening. Number 6. The engine auto restart delay that protects the starter motor. The idle stop system restarts the engine when the brake pedal is released at a traffic stop. Most owners are not aware that the restart sequence includes a deliberate delay of approximately 0.3 seconds between brake release and engine restart on vehicles that have experienced multiple short restart cycles within a confined time period. The delay is not a system malfunction. It is a starter motor protection feature. Rapid successive restart cycles generate heat in the starter motor. The delay allows the starter motor to cool between cycles and prevents the overheating that shortens starter motor service life dramatically in high-cycle idle stop applications. Starter motor replacement on a Mazda with an idle stop system runs between $400 and $900 depending on the model. A system that protects the starter motor through cycle management is a system that extends a component life directly. Understanding the delay means you are not applying more brake pressure or adjusting your foot position, trying to trigger an immediate restart when the brief pause occurs. The system is managing the hardware correctly. Working with it rather than against it is the only correct driver response. The next feature is one that directly affects the fuel economy of your Mazda on every drive, and that most owners are inadvertently reducing by several percent through a setting they have never examined. Number 5. The tire pressure display. Most drivers check tire pressure with a hand gauge when a warning light appears. The tire pressure monitoring system display in your Mazda's information menu shows the actual pressure in all 4 tires simultaneously in real time. The display updates continuously as temperatures change. The display is calibrated to the vehicle's specific sensor network and is significantly more accurate than most consumer-grade hand gauges. Checking the TPMS display at the beginning of each week takes 10 seconds and provides a current pressure reading for all 4 tires simultaneously. A tire that is 3 psi below the door. Jam specification reduces fuel economy by approximately 1% per tire. 3 psi low across all 4 tires represents a 4% fuel economy reduction that accumulates across every mile driven at that pressure. The display that prevents this is already in the vehicle information menu. The hand gauge that most drivers reach for is a less accurate alternative to a more accurate tool already in the car. The next feature is one that most Mazda owners have experienced as an annoyance and dismissed without realizing it could be adjusted to stop being annoying immediately. Number 4. The Lane Keep Assist Intensity Adjustment. Mazda's Lane Keep Assist applies steering corrections when the vehicle drifts toward a lane marking without a turn signal input. The factory correction intensity is set at a level that most drivers on highways find helpful, and most drivers on winding roads find intrusive. The correction intensity is adjustable through the driver assistance settings. 3 levels are available on most recent Mazda models. The low intensity setting provides a gentle steering nudge as a suggestion. The medium factory setting provides a moderate correction. The high intensity setting provides a firm correction appropriate for motorway driving, where lane discipline is more uniform. Selecting the correct intensity for your primary driving environment eliminates the specific intrusive feeling that causes most owners to disable the system entirely. A system disabled out of frustration provides no protection. A system set to the correct intensity for the road type provides exactly the assistance it was designed to deliver without the interference that makes it feel like an obstacle. The next feature is one that changes how much of the road your Mazda sees at night, and that is activated through a single setting most owners have never touched. Number 3. The High Beam Assist that manages your lights automatically. Mazda's high beam control system activates and deactivates the high beam headlights automatically based on the presence of oncoming traffic and preceding vehicles. The system uses the front camera to detect vehicle lighting and switches between high and low beam without driver input. Most owners who have this system do not know it requires a specific stock position to operate. The system only activates when the headlight stalk is in the auto position rather than the manual on position. Drivers who manually switch on their headlights and then manually switch to high beam are bypassing the automatic system entirely. The correct operating procedure is to set the headlight stalk to auto and allow the system to manage both the headlight on and off function and the high and low beam switching simultaneously. The result is maximum illumination on unlit roads between other vehicles and automatic reduction to low beam when oncoming traffic is detected, maximum visibility when you need it, no blinding oncoming drivers, no manual switching required. The system manages it all from a single stalk position that most owners have never intentionally selected. The next feature is the most important one on this entire list for long-term engine health, and it is happening incorrectly in most Mazda driveways every single morning. Number 2. The correct warm-up protocol for Skyactiv-G engines. The Skyactiv-G engine family uses compression ratios between 13 and 14 to 1 depending on the specific variant. These compression ratios are the highest in mainstream production passenger vehicles. High compression produces excellent efficiency and strong torque at low RPM. It also creates a specific cold start vulnerability that lower compression engines do not face at the same severity. Cold oil at 13:1 compression creates bearing surface stress levels that are measurably higher than the same oil at 10:1 compression. The stress difference is concentrated in the first 60 to 90 seconds of cold operation before oil reaches critical bearing surfaces. The correct warm-up procedure for a Skyactiv-G engine is engine start, followed by 30 seconds of idle and then gentle driving. Below 2000 RPM for the first 3 minutes. Gentle driving warms the oil, coolant, transmission fluid, and tire sidewalls simultaneously. Stationary idling warms the coolant but does not circulate oil to bearing surfaces at the rate that driving at light load achieves. The drivers who follow this protocol consistently report engine inspection results at high mileage that their mechanics describe as exceptional for the kilometers on the clock. The drivers who drive aggressively from cold starts are using the compression advantage of the Skyactiv-G architecture against the engine's long-term health. The protocol costs nothing. It requires only the habit of restraint for the first 3 minutes of every cold start. The next feature is the one that professional Mazda technicians use to verify that every other system on this list is functioning correctly. Number 1. The hidden diagnostic menu that shows your car's real-time health. Data Mazda vehicles contain a hidden diagnostic display accessible through a specific button combination that shows real-time sensor data from every major system in the vehicle. Coolant temperature at a precise degree level rather than the general gauge position. Battery voltage in real time. Transmission fluid temperature. Throttle position percentage. Mass airflow sensor reading. Boost pressure on turbocharged models. This data is available on every Mazda with MBUX or the MZD Connect infotainment system. The access method varies by model year and infotainment generation. The specific button sequence for your exact model is documented on dedicated Mazda owner forums searchable by your model name and year, combined with the phrase hidden diagnostic menu. The search takes 2 minutes. The information it returns shows you the real-time data that your dealer's diagnostic equipment reads during a service appointment. A mechanic from Texas named Ray described this menu as the difference between owning a car and understanding a car. He found it on his personal CX-5 2 years into ownership and describes every drive since as a different experience because he understands what the systems are telling him in real time. Your Mazda is generating this data on every drive. The menu that shows it to you has been there since the day you drove off the lot. Now you know it exists. Hey, thanks for watching. If this video just showed you features in your Mazda that the dealership never demonstrate, let us know in the comments which one surprised you most and which one you are activating today. Want to see more hidden car features that most owners never discover across the entire life of their vehicle? Click on the video on the left. And if you do not want to miss more hidden vehicle feature guides that change how you use the car you're already driving, hit that subscribe button right now.